Hey, my name's Ben. I'm not anybody special. I was born in New York, 35 years old. I moved down to Tennessee in 96. Um, I'm just a regular person. I'm not different, I guess, from anybody else in the world. But something happened to me when I first moved here. Um, I didn't know anybody in the city. I was living up in New York and kind of in that transition between boyhood and manhood. And I don't know, I just kind of started thinking differently. Things started seeming a little strange. Seemed like overnight I just became painfully aware of God. Um, it's kind of strange. Things just started changing in my life. Everything looked differently. The sky was clear. The trees were prettier. And it's not like some great divine miracle happened. It just slowly just started changing, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. Well, I thought I couldn't ignore it anymore, but I did. I ignored it for a long time. Um, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness my entire life, well, until I was 18, 17, 18 years old. Um, so that was my whole foundation. I don't know if you know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses. You hang out with Jehovah's Witnesses, you eat with Jehovah's Witnesses. There's no extracurricular activity with anybody other than somebody in your faith, which yeah, it was just part of my life. I didn't really question it, but things that I was experiencing, I had never been taught in that church. I had never knew that these kind of feelings or thoughts existed at all. I thought that everything that you believed in your heart and faith was only from what they taught you. So it scared me pretty bad. Freaked out a little bit, ignored it. Um, but the dreams didn't stop. You know, I would have these epic, symbolic dreams about, God and the nature of God and myself and the devil, and it all seemed so abstract and obscure, and I would have ignored it forever except for this one thing, that the entire time I was going through this, and it got scary for a while, I thought I was going mad, was this feeling in my heart. And it sounds kind of cliche, but honestly, the only way I can describe the feeling is something had bloomed in my heart. Like there was an actual bud, flower bud or something in there. And it was, for the first time in my life, I understood what joy was. Uh, but, I'm pretty good at ignoring stuff, especially the things that are important to me and the things that are healthy for me. So I ignored it, for a couple of years, and circumstances came about just like all circumstances do, and I ended up moving to Tennessee, Knoxville, where my mother lived. And I was here, and I was just kind of left all that behind me in New York, and new start. I come down here and didn't know anybody in the city, so I go into this coffee shop, and I'm sitting there minding my own business, reading a book, smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, and looking out the window. Just thinking about myself like everybody does when they're sitting there alone. And this guy comes up to me. I can't remember his name, but he was kind of off-putting, kind of a little scary, just because I didn't know him, and he was from Brooklyn. Oh, his name was Rocco. That's right, Rocco from Brooklyn, and he was this Goomba, tough guy kind of thing. And he comes in and sits down and just starts talking to me, like he's known me his whole life. And I was kind of like, why don't you get away from my table and leave me alone? But takes a piece of paper, puts it on the table in front of me. He draws a circle on it, and then draws a circle next to it. Points at the circle on the left, and he says, "This is heaven." Points at the circle on the right, and he says, "This is earth." And he says, "You got 1 foot here and 1 foot here." He says, "You see things that most people don't see." And he said, "There's so many things that you could do to help people." And he said, "But you're worthless." He said, "If you don't open your mouth, you're worthless." He said, "You'll waste your entire life." So I guess, and that was 13 years ago. Um, so I guess now I'm opening my mouth. I got to do something. You know, I was raised in the Bible my whole life, and I'm not really exactly sure what to believe. I know that I know what's in my heart, and I know what I was raised to believe, and I'm kind of trying to find the balance in between how I am in this situation. Well, anyway, this is my first attempt at opening my mouth, and I intend to post this on the internet, and in the hopes that maybe somebody will see it, maybe it'll help somebody. I don't know if I've said anything that will ring true with anybody out there, but first attempt, and I would appreciate it if you feel like you have some sort of calling on your life, even if you don't know what it is, like me. If you feel drawn in a certain situation or a certain direction, and that you have faith in God like I do. Not necessarily faith in religion like I do. But I appreciate if you post back and let me know, and so I can know that there's other people out there that feel like they're meant to do something more than what they're doing. Uh, so feel free, and hopefully I'll post again. Thanks.